Hi, my name is Ashton Whitby, and today I will be talking to you about ethical egoism. Ethical egoism. Well, you might ask, what is that exactly? Ego, the back part of it, is basically prideful, arrogant, self-interest, lack of self-interest of others, disregard of others, uh, prideful, and everyone has an ego when it comes down to it. Depending on how massive your ego is on that person. Now, as far as the ethical part, is it morally right for that person to have an ego? That's just to be justified. Now, today's presentation, I will be talking about three people who I considered had a massive ego, but to say if they were ethical, I would say yes and no. Well, today we'll be talking about Bernie Madoff, who was a Wall Street investor, Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers in the world, Ashton Whitby, me, myself. Ethical egoism is the topic. Now, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was a very known, well boxer, one of the greatest of all time. He had a massive ego. In his life, in his career, in his life, he had worked real hard on his character. His ego had a big part to play into it. He would bash and talk about his opponents before he gets in the ring, and also when he actually got into the ring to throw them off. His ego was always fed. He had a loud mouth, and he would always back up whatever he said he was going to do in the ring when it came to boxing. That was his ego. Always getting people to feed him more and more attention to make his ego real massive. Now, was it ethical? I would say yes. I would say yes, only because that was his strategy of winning his fights. He could brainwash or make someone believe that he's the greatest of all time, and make someone believe that he is the best, to where even his opponents will know, okay, there's nothing I can do to defeat this guy. So morally right, yes, in his profession, that's what he had to do and needed to do to make sure that he would win his bouts or his fights to become the greatest fighter of all time. And his ego, like I said, he would also mention little phrases like, I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands can't hit what your eyes can see. And people would be raving about that, and his ego would be more fed. So in his life, I would say that his ethical egoism was justified because of his profession. These are things he needed to do to get his life and get his character to where it needed to be. Muhammad Ali. Now, Mr. Bernie Madoff. Mr. Bernie Madoff was a Wall Street investor. Now, he had a massive ego. Arrogant, prideful, self-interest, lack of self-awareness. He could care less about the next person. He was more focused on providing for him and his family, and didn't mind swindling people out of their hard-earned money, celebrities, doctors, lawyers. And in the case of him doing these things, he would brag about it and later on become one of the Wizard of Lies, as they call it. His ego fed him, his ego was that he wanted more. He wanted more. He was already a millionaire within the first 3 years of working at Wall Street, and then his greed would catch up with him to where he wouldn't stop. He would actually get people to invest in these dummy companies, and he would take their money. He's one of the old people, retirement people, out there hard-earned monies over their life, and he was not remorseful doing it. Some of the things he said was, I am a good person. I am not the kind of person I'm portrayed as. My notoriety impresses the other inmates. So, of course, he's in jail, and as in jail, he's bragging about these things because it feeds his ego. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about myself. I'm not a famous person or celebrity, but I do believe that I have an ego. Sometimes I feel like that no one can tell me anything because I know everything, which is not true. I know I don't know everything, but I feel that I am. And I like the attention that I get when people think that I know everything. And it feeds my ego. Now, is it ethical? Probably not. Well, to me it is because it makes me feel good. But to someone else, of course, it doesn't benefit them. My ethical egoism, it benefits me. So, case point study, ethical egoism has to be justified. And depending on that person's massive ego, it determines if they want it to be ethical or not. My works cited place. Thank you.